Okay, welcome to the show here, SportsStreamNetwork.com. Jeff DeForest. We got Jersey Kyle en route. He'll be showing up a little later on to accommodate and appease his rather gargantuan fan base that he's assembling here on the program so far. Good to have you guys with us, and great weekend of sporting activity all the way around. As we had so many things, it's hard to know where to begin. I'm watching last night as the Cubs no-hit the Dodgers. And this is always an interesting thing. At what point does the crowd in the opposing park that's getting no hit, in this case the Dodgers, they're there in Los Angeles, Chavez Ravine, a 900-year-old Vin Scully is saying, pull up a chair and stay a while. At what point do the team's fans start rooting against their own team? Now the Dodgers are in a pennant race too. They're not exactly locks to make the playoffs. They're sitting there 4 games ahead of the San Francisco Giants. The two factions hate each other, so there'd be nothing worse than losing to the Giants in this pennant race, because one of those teams is in all likelihood not going to make the postseason. The 2 wild cards are going elsewhere. Pittsburgh Pirates are in contention, Chicago Cubs. So whoever loses that National League Western Division race is going to be Gonzo City, sayonara. Call us again next spring training. We'll be optimistic. Here are the Dodgers with their $300 million payroll too, and they're being no-hit by the Chicago Cubs and Jake Arrieta, who's having a phenomenal season, and yet nobody really in baseball is, unless you're a real insider, you got to be like Tim Kurkjian, one of those freaks, Buster Olney, to know about what Jake Arrieta is doing, and he's doing a remarkable job with the Chicago Cubs all year. 17-6 now. Flirted with no-hitters before. He's gone 6 innings of no-hit ball on 4 other occasions, and then saw the thing fall apart. Now he benefited from, and I didn't see the play, and maybe some of you people out there in our SportsStream.com listening audience saw this play where an error was ascribed to one of the second basemen for the Cubs, as a ground ball was hit by a Dodger. Could have easily been called a base hit, very debatable according to most. And they went ahead and assigned an error to the second baseman, preserving the no-hitter. It was not a perfect game. That didn't make the difference in a perfecto either, as Arrieta issued 1 walk while striking out 12, including 3 in a row in the 9th inning. But I remember a long time ago, 1964, the original season at Shea Stadium for the New York Mets. I was a Met fan at the time, became one in 62 when they came into existence. And we were there for the first half of a Father's Day doubleheader when Jim Bunning of the Philadelphia Phillies pitched a perfect game against the Mets. And the Mets were horrible at that time, so we wanted to see some kind of baseball history. And the crowd at Shea Stadium, Mets home park, started to pick it up in about the 7th inning. Everybody was on to the fact, obviously, that Bunning was pitching a perfect game. And now that you're there, and the Mets were hopelessly out of this one, I don't remember the final score. They ended up losing a doubleheader that day. But everybody wanted to say, oh yeah, I was there for the perfect game, which I was. I was one of the now 400,000 people that were on hand for that perfect game. But the crowd started very early rooting for Philadelphia in that ball game and Jim Bunning to go ahead and make baseball history. In this case, there was reason. It was only a 2-0 score, 9th inning, and there was reason for the Dodger faithful to sit there and want to see anything but a dreaded Northern California team come into their ballpark and no-hit them. And this would only add insult to what was already a very injurious complex that they had to be suffering from, because they had just been no-hit 9 days earlier. Only team since like 1908 to get no-hit 2 times in a month. Now the Los Angeles Dodgers of the $300 million payroll and all these high-priced guys, they can't even squeeze all of their bats into the lineup on an everyday basis, because they have so many guys that can play and are highly paid. So anyway, at what point do you start rooting for the other team? And the Dodger fans there are standing up in unison, going crazy, hoping that Arrieta would eventually pitch this no-hitter while their team was only down 2 runs. You have to figure, guy gets a bunt single, whatever, busts up the no-hitter, next guy up hits one out of the park. It's 2-2, and all of a sudden you turn it around and win the game, a key ball game in the stretch. But they were cheering like crazy for Jake Arrieta. He struck out the sides in the 9th inning, and that was just one of many, many significant things that happened over the weekend. We had American Pharoah going down in a blaze of glory. There's a phrase in racing, and a friend of mine had this on Facebook. Great race caller now at Monmouth Park, also calls Oaklawn. He's eventually going to be the heir apparent to calling the races at Santa Anita. The great Frank Miramati, who does more dead-on impressions of old-time and current race callers than you could ever imagine. I told him at one point, I was friends with Frank a while back before he really kind of hit it big with the race calling. And I said, you know what's great about you? You have just a masterful skill, but the unfortunate thing is, kind of like doing this for a living, it's extremely useless. You can't have a more useless skill that you're probably the best in the world at than being able to impersonate virtually every race caller that ever walked the face of the planet. And this is going back to some of the real old timers like the great Harry Henson out of Chicago and Los Angeles fame. They're out in line. All of these callers, he did dead on Trevor Demon. You would think that Trevor Demon was on the phone when Miramati's calling you as Trevor Demon. Tom Durkin, Dave Johnson, does them all. Phil George F., dead on impression. So I'm telling Frank, I said that you have a totally useless skill that you happen to be tremendous at. And sure enough, as he was leaving that day, he gets a call from the producer of the movie Seabiscuit, who says, you know what we need? We need a guy for this movie that can do an impersonation of any race color in the world. So the next thing you know, right after I condemned his ability to imitate any race color, he was on his way to Hollywood and starred him. He got cut out of the movie, though, and that's another story for another day. But he said that the racing term gave way grudgingly would be the way to describe what happened to American Pharoah. And if you go back and you look at what happened in the stretch run of that race, you would have to say that that was clearly the case, that American Pharoah was all out. I mean, all heart, all guts and glory, and wasn't really himself. You could kind of see that as they went in the gate. I know it's after the fact, but had that little horse schwitz that you get. He looked like a Jewish kid getting ready for his bar mitzvah when he knows that he can't speak any Hebrew, and he's failed all of his bar mitzvah lessons. You're only hoping that the rich uncle is in the front row and has already stroked you a check before you go through the ceremony. And by the way, thank you, Uncle Harry. That was the biggest donation that I got to my manhood when I was a kid. But he had to come through, right? The guy was filthy rich. He was a developer on Long Island. Thing was nothing. It was swampland. And my Uncle Harry zooms in there as an electrician, working part-time. Next thing you know, he's one of the biggest developers, filthy freaking rich. So, of course, even though he's a little bit on the obnoxious side, may he rest in peace, he was your first invitee to your bar mitzvah. But anyway, gave way grudgingly was the apt way to describe what happened with American Pharoah. It was kind of sad seeing everybody crying, and maybe now we're deprived of seeing a different part of racing history being made, because after the race, all the owners were, they were literally sobbing. They were face down on the surface there at Saratoga, a graveyard for favorites. And we did tell you on the Friday show that we were going to go against American Pharoah in this race, which of course didn't come up with the winning combination. But Keen Ice, the horse that mowed him down, had been showing signs that maybe he was competitive. And here you had to have American Pharoah not on his best game, and Keen Ice had to come through like a champ as the only horse that was going to close in the field with any kind of effectiveness, and just blew by American Pharoah like he was standing still in the final 16th. And that ends a great run. 8 straight races won by American Pharoah. We jokingly said, and this will have to be investigated, that we were going to have a bunch of bimbos sent over to Victor Espinosa's hotel room to try and screw him up so we could cash a bet. The winner pays, and this is one of the rare times that you get to take advantage of this sort of thing. You have a prohibitive favorite that's also a huge sentimental favorite in the race, in American Pharoah. And then anybody that you bet is going to pay way more than it normally should have, proportionate to the odds that the horse would actually normally merit. So Keen Ice ends up paying $34, even though he'd been in the Triple Crown, had run, I believe, third in the Belmont to American Pharoah, and was a decent second in the Haskell Invitational, and now comes in and beats the horse. And now their owners are screaming, yeah, we want a rematch. Let's see what can happen. We'll beat him again. But the owners of American Pharoah, the Zayat family, not exactly the most highest esteemed owners in the game, even though people were giving them credit for running this horse after the Triple Crown was over. And this is not unprecedented, where you had a Triple Crown winner go in the Travers, a known graveyard for favorites. May as well just put some funeral home advertising right underneath the logo for Saratoga, because many prohibitive favorites have been buried in the stretch there at Saratoga. It's a little bit of a different surface. Long run from the top of the stretch to the wire. And American Pharoah, who looked like he was going to gut it out, eventually got gunned down. But the Zayats are now saying, owners of the horse, that that's it. They don't want to subject him to any more of these arduous races. And what we thought was going to be a pretty nifty conclusion to a tremendous year in thoroughbred racing probably has been stemmed off now because of this loss, as they're saying they're just going to send the horse to the breeding shed. Always ask this question, what's the worst job in all of sports? And it's relatable to this whole American Pharaoh story because the worst job in sports, you could say what? Cleaning out stalls at the track? That doesn't even compare. I don't know that there's really any other bad job. Maybe holding the bag for Tom Brady in Deflategate makes that job of being in charge of the footballs somewhat of an embarrassment. Now these guys are disgraced. They never go back into it again. But far and away, the worst job in all of sports would be the teaser horse on a stud farm, which I wasn't aware that this activity took place until one day I was doing some kind of tape documentary about breeding and horse breeding in Kentucky and in Florida and all the different places where it's extremely prominent. And they introduce us to, there's some nag waiting in like a little corral before you get to the rather elaborate looking breeding shed. The breeding shed looks like any fine gentleman's club that you would find in a major city. Just absolutely pristine. I mean, it even has like little private rooms with a curtain that you can go behind and get like some form of sexual activity performed on you, even as a racehorse. I mean, it's just fantastic. Free drinks too, all night long, and you've got the free buffet like oats, hay, carrots, whatever you want. You come in there, it's just absolutely a blast. And this poor teaser horse has to, his whole job is to get the mare lathered up so, they don't waste any time once they go in to breed to Stormcat, or in this case, it's going to be American Pharaoh. There's a horse that's actually assigned to just get the mare excited, lathered up, and never gets any. Once in a while, they'll throw him a camel or a donkey just to keep the horse from absolutely going crazy. But imagine the psychological problems even an equine athlete could have when your only job is to get a woman excited so she can go have sex with somebody else. Horrible job, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. That's for even Jory. I would not say, "Hey, Jory, man, you know what you belong as? Come back in the next lifetime, teaser horse on a stud farm." But we'll see. Hopefully, American Pharaoh can get that DNA flowing, and the bloodlines will continue because a sensational horse. It was very sad. I was happy to see the reaction around the country and around the world to his defeat, saying, "Well, that's really a shame. Horse did nothing to embarrass himself." Great effort on the lead there, challenged by Frosted most of the way around, and then unfortunately came up a little bit short in a very arduous and long, almost like he was running through quicksand there at the end of the race, a long drive to the wire, and mowed down at the final bell there by Keen Ice, who deserves to be congratulated. Nobody's talking about that horse having defeated American Pharaoh. We've seen it before. What, Onion beating, was it Secretariat, went down in the Travers, and we've seen it one other time. I think Affirmed also was another Triple Crown winner that ran in the Travers at Saratoga and got buried, absolutely buried under an avalanche of odds, and ended up not preserving that winning streak that was going on in the Triple Crown. So very exciting year. We also mentioned to you the fight that took place over the weekend. You couldn't have asked for more. And I've been a big fan of this kid, Leo Santa Cruz, for a long time. I started seeing him on the undercards of various big fights, some of the pay-per-view shows. And I just love that throwback guy that throws punches and combinations. He statistically, which I think this might be the worst stat in all of sports. Never mind the worst job. The worst stat in all of sports is the CompuBox punch stat numbers, which, and I happen to know the guys, very nice guys that started this thing, and you're thinking, all right, what could be wrong with some kind of statistical measurement of what's going on in a boxing match? It might give you some indication as to who was winning or what the scorecard should reflect, but that's never the case. And the problem with it is this, and I used to discuss it with these guys, who I think have sold the business and moved on, but it's become a very prominent and seemingly important tool to a lot of guys that are calling boxing. I personally hate it because one guy could land 47 of 94 power punches, but the other guy's still standing. He's got zero in terms of statistical evidence that he's in the fight, but he's taken everything that the other guy has, and then boom, with one punch, knocks him out of the ring, lights out, wins the fight. So you look at the stats, they're totally warped, a lot like some of the stats in the NFL preseason, where you're seeing one team has compiled amazing numbers, but they end up losing the game. Or their first string blew out the opposition in the first quarter and a half that they were in there for when it was first team versus first team. And then the scrubs ended up losing a ball game later on, and the coaches having to lament, "Oh my God, I can't believe we can't establish this winning attitude here." So very deceptive, but the CompuBox numbers are far and away the most deceptive stat that you can get on sport. That being said, the output of Leo Santa Cruz, he's deemed to be the number one guy in terms of volume punching, and he's extremely accurate on top of that. He didn't get to do his thing completely against better competition in Abner Maris, who put up a hell of a fight. This was one of those territorial bloodbaths also, where both fighters are from Los Angeles, both are of Mexican descent, Mexican bloodlines. They both kind of represent, you would have to say, not only the country of Mexico, but certainly the city of Los Angeles, which is still just laden with a huge fight fan culture, going back to the days of the Olympic Auditorium and the wars they used to stage in there every Thursday night. This was everything you could ask for. And I know they're going to try and sell you. They even had, it was embarrassing to see the commercials pop up for Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Andre Berto, because there's no way that this fight could compare, either on paper before the matchup or once they actually stepped into the ring. There's no way from an action standpoint that this fight could ever compare. Mayweather just won't let that happen. And you saw something from Leo Santa Cruz. He's clearly ahead on the scorecards going into the 12th and final round of this fight. You know that Maris is going to bring it, because he's going to go out on his shield. He's one of those guys that's going to be battling right to the end. And they tee it up just like they were Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed as they get to the final round. In that case, that was one of the last of the 15 rounders. That might be the answer to a trivia question. What was the last 15-round fight ever in boxing history? It might have been Creed versus Balboa, as they were still fighting 15 rounders back then. But this one's going 12. I would suggest this. Go on YouTube and tee up the 12th round, if you can find it, of Maris versus Santa Cruz. And if you want to see what boxing was supposed to be literally all about, this was it. And Maris ends up going down in defeat. I don't know that I need to see a rematch, because I think the same MO would apply, where Santa Cruz was just too tall and had too much reach for Abner Maris. And even though he came in and kind of bull rushed him and tried to press the action, he really wasn't able to affect that strategy throughout the entire fight. And to Santa Cruz's credit, after he got off to a little bit of a slow start, somewhat overwhelmed by what was happening, he ended up just dictating the pace of the fight. I think the scorecards were relatively on, except for the one Stevie Wonder scorecard that had it a draw. I don't know that anybody could have seen that. There were some close rounds, but I thought 116, 112. It ended up on two cards being 117, 111, which is essentially 9 rounds to 3. Could have made it 8-4, could have made a case for that. Even 7-5 if you were stretching it. But turned out they made the right call in the fight. Leo Santa Cruz won it, and we'll see what he does next, because he's been moving up, bumping up steadily in weight, and now fighting as a featherweight at $126. May not have the knockout power that he had when he was fighting 8 pounds lighter at 118, but certainly is about as skilled a boxer as you're going to find in the game today. And this was as exciting a fight as you'll see in a long, long time. So I recommend, if you get a chance to see it on a replay, take a look at Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Maris. No disgrace either for the guy who lost. Maris gave a great account of himself, and probably is destined to do more things in the division and in the game, but he was naturally, as you'd expect, extremely disappointed. Thought he won the fight. Don't know that was the case, but that was just a great effort there on Saturday night, and it leads to the September 12th showing of Berto versus Mayweather, which...
Hey, do you know what caused him to go from 15 rounds to 12?
That was Duk Koo Kim getting killed in the ring.
Fight?
Yeah, Boom Boom Mancini. They finally did it. Come on in here, Jersey Kyle, coming off a remarkable week where his gambling prowess has never ever been in more serious of a groove. Did they get you back over the weekend, or did you continue with this roll that you were on, Jersey Kyle?
The new Toronto shirts are in.
Those are good, yeah. We got a few of them for you. We're going to get those. Jory promises he's hitting the board of directors
Sports
up.
Stream. I saw the
Sportstream
logo.
Yeah.
I saw the nice logo, sportstreamnetwork.com.
Yes.
For any of you people who have not seen the logo, it is excellent. So go on the website and take a good look at that. That will be on most of our wardrobe.
That would be our entire wardrobe. What are you talking about? You know how I roll.
Well, I made
I don't think I have a shirt that I paid for. Yeah.
Somebody said to me, your friend DeFo, he's got no wardrobe at all. He's got 3 from a cigar sponsor, Toronto.
Yeah.
He's got 2 from Gulfstream that he stole. And basically that's it. That's are the only shirts. Right?
What else do you need?
You have. I tried to stick up for your wardrobe. I said, no, he has other things.
No, I don't. I really don't.
But I have seen them, like when you attended the wedding.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you have a jacket.
If I'm forced to wear that same sports jacket.
The blue one.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah,
that.
it's nice. You've
I
had
bought
that.
that. You know what? It's funny that you mention that because you know me. Everything at the last second. I was going to call a fight at the Hard Rock.
Yes. And you needed a jacket?
I needed a jacket, and I went to Sears right around the corner from here.
Oh, I
Much
thought
like
you went
did
to
the other day.
Tony's.
What happened with
Tuxedos.
that? Where's the suit today?
Well, I didn't have to wear it today because the nice purple one that I had on the other day is in for alterations. And over the weekend, a delivery on Saturday.
Yeah, what's this about now? So
Steel
Jory didn't
fudge.
steal the stuff.
No, he didn't.
Speaking of steel, STEAL.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I did receive a package on Saturday. Thank you to my friends up on the Jersey Shore at the greatest fudge and candy spot on the entire Jersey Shore, Steele's Fudge and Saltwater Taffy. I mean, what a nice package. Jory, candy-coated popcorn, nuts, peanut brittle, saltwater taffy, fudge, every flavor in the rainbow. I mean, this was a great deal. Thanks, guys. It's gone. I ate it within 24 hours. It was gone. So if you want to send another box...
Send one here. I mean,
my
people from Steele's. But send money. Just send money to the...
Bags of cash. You like that, too.
I like that. All right, speaking of which, I mean, I was talking a little bit about the American Pharoah race, and... I mean, the Zayats not, you mention their name around the track and you get a couple of those looks like when you mention Larry King's name.
Yeah, they're like stiffs, right? They do,
Some
you're right.
veterinarian's got an empty syringe and he said, you know what, he put $400 worth of medication in a horse and I got 0.0 back.
I mentioned the name Zayat and somebody handed me a bill and they go, are you going to see him? Can you collect this for me? There's
Tell him, where's my 50? Yeah.
A lot of guys are stiffed. This guy stiffed a lot of guys around the racetrack. Not good. Not good when you're in bad reverence with racetrack people because...
Especially since he was actually doing a thing that people deemed to be very virtuous or thought it was.
Yeah.
Which was keeping his horse on the track.
And it was good for racing until he lost, and now he's going to go away, I guess, right?
Is there something wrong with that, though? I mean, the horse didn't lose in disgrace. He
No.
ran his eyeballs out.
Yeah.
I was talking about how, and a racing term never applied more aptly. Frank Miramati pointing this out, the great race caller from your favorite track, Monmouth Park in New Jersey, said the term gave way grudgingly never applied more than it did to American Pharoah in the Travers.
He fought, and you know what? When he walked on the track, he didn't look right.
Right.
He was lathering.
He had a
bit.
schwitz going. Literally, he looked like a kid getting up there for his bar
I
mitzvah.
was going to say, he looked like you in a sauna.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. He was just dripping. But
you can't always go by that, but it is an indicator. He didn't look like himself.
No, he didn't look like he had that bounce in his step, and he got beat by one horse, so it's not like the whole field.
One
ran by
horse,
him.
a closer who had been knocking on the door anyway. I mean, was also significant. Also ran in the previous races where he met American Pharoah. What did he ran? Did he run third in the Belmont and second in the Haskell?
Keen ran second in the Haskell.
Right, he might have skipped the Belmont or the Preakness, one of those races.
I don't know. Yeah.
But he was in there, and it certainly wasn't absurd to think that the horse could lose. We talked about it on Friday.
And a good trainer, Dale Romans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baffert had to be out of his mind, though, right? You were talking about. I mean, imagine this: you got the meddlesome owner. It'd be like Dan Snyder.
No, Baffert was
and the
pissed.
Redskins,
No,
yeah.
he was legitimately pissed. I don't think
Baffert,
he wanted,
the trainer of American Pharoah.
Yeah, he didn't want to run him. He wanted to run him in a Pennsylvania Derby, which was an easier spot.
When's that? Next month?
The September 30th.
Oh, okay. So the horse would have had an extra month of rest.
Cool $1 million. Just pack it away.
$1 million sitting there. Imagine you can just say, "Let me grab 600,000 of this," and you stuff it away.
And then another 4 weeks till the Breeders' Cup. So it would kind of fit perfect,
Yeah.
This was kind of rushed back 2 weeks.
Nice
after.
tune-up for the Cup.
Yeah. 2 weeks after the Haskell, they run him back or whatever it was. It was a little short.
Yeah.
It was like 20 days or something.
When Baffert was looking for embalming fluid somewhere in the city of Saratoga.
Yeah.
Remember when we were trying to find sandwiches? That was not easy to do for some reason.
Well, we were directed to a great sandwich spot somewhere on the back, not on Broadway, but on the back way. And that lady
found a good spot,
whipped us up some beautiful
You were out looking for booze.
No, I did get I got the beer. I was able to work
you did
that
come
out.
through,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Did they let you, is that a new institution of a policy that they don't let you bring off-site food into Saratoga
No,
anymore?
at Saratoga.
That would kill people.
We were allowed to bring in our coolers.
That was then, yeah. But I heard some neo-Nazi type
took over the
New York Racing Association and said, "No more food, 9."
This stinks.
Just cut it right off. I'm not sure if that's true.
Well, this is not good for me and my friends, because
But that's part of the charm of going, is it not?
We love carrying in the cooler, the subs.
Who needs a $20 Cuban sandwich when you can just
Who
bring
needs
your
a
own
$9
stuff in?
Bud Light? I mean, come on, this is not not good.
That's right. Yeah, those were pretty steep.
I mean, but
Who was it that was
wacky.
complaining? Some millionaire friend of yours said, look, I don't like this. You got to go out and get some beers because otherwise I got to buy them at $9 a pop.
I don't remember which one it was, but it seems like one of my
Was that
friends.
your guy, Fraga, or whatever his
No,
name is?
I think it might have been Dan the Man who was whining. a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. He made like $8 zillion selling military secrets. And
Yeah,
now,
right.
No,
And
it was like he was
no,
selling
he
product
was.
to the
It was-
military.
I don't care.
And he was like bitching about the $9 beers.
Screw him if he didn't like it.
At
you know?
Saratoga. Yeah, buy around for everybody here. Yeah, it's on Dan
I
the
mean,
Man.
talk about stupid stuff, though. How about this guy who's yelling at A-Rod in a baseball stadium this weekend
Falls out of the stands.
and
Yeah.
takes a nosedive? And why'd you leave A-Rod alone? You still would have been here, you dope. I mean, here he is. He's trying
It's
to
not
yell.
the first time that's happened, and I don't think it's the first time it's
Guys
happened in Atlanta.
yelling. It's the third guy to take a skydive in Atlanta to fall out of the stands.
How stupid do you have
In
to be,
Atlanta, in
literally?
that
I mean,
stadium in Turner. How drunk did these
it's
people
one thing
get?
you're leaning over the railing trying to get a ball, but you're just leaning there to curse out Alex Rodriguez. What
Yeah.
kind of useless activity
I
is
was
that?
there for the grand opening of that stadium.
What a
Unbelievable.
dump. I mean, this is the last year, right? I mean, they're closing it. They're moving next year.
They're already getting a new stadium, which is amazing because that was a new stadium.
Yeah.
Remember they had some crummy joint where like Hank Aaron was hitting home runs, and then they got a new.
Well, that was
ballpark.
Atlanta Municipal Stadium or something.
Yeah,
wasn't
it
it?
had a tomahawk, right there
Yeah,
on the top
yeah.
instead of a flagpole.
No, but that's unbelievable. So this guy takes a dive, right?
Yeah.
Yelling at A-Rod, you bomb! Boom! That wasn't
Imagine
going to
you're
be
there just to get a Coke and a hot dog down there on the second floor. You're at the concession stands and a body comes
guy
flying off the
lands
roof.
on it. Yeah, no.
And
it's not-
splats right there, like you
not-
were in a scene out of Ray Donovan.
What,
Unbelievable.
don't they have that like net? Why didn't he land on that? Don't most stadiums like behind home plate have some kind of net where you could have landed? It would have looked
Oh,
like
yeah,
one of the
covering up.
Walendas or something. You know,
But he
with a-
landed
with
like in a lower deck, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's supposed.
It wasn't like he landed by home plate. He wasn't
There
going to
was
land on
some
the field.
there was some concrete behind home plate. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah?
What, maybe it was an entrance, but most ballparks have a big screen like over the top. You know,
Yeah,
Imagine.
foul balls from
You're
cracking
looking up
everybody.
in
from the
shock.
foul balls from hitting your head, let alone
Hey, it's
some
Greg
guy.
Louganis, yeah.
Some guy off the third tier.
We're
that-
laughing at it, but the
No,
guy
but
died. I mean,
I feel
that's
bad
pretty
that
sick.
the guy died. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a heartless bastard. I mean, I understand it's a shame. It's family, condolences.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on already. What is this guy yelling? And it's the second. Well, two guys that already fell.
Two previous guys.
So maybe
yeah.
they should get some seatbelts.
How about a railing?
You would
How about
think that the stadium would figure out a way to prevent that from
I
happening.
mean, if you
Huh?
got two guys that went over, maybe like a seatbelt in every seat. Like, all right, now, ladies and gentlemen,
Strap 'em
please
in,
make
yeah.
sure you're fastened because this is going to get wild. Here comes A-Rod, and everybody's got to, strap them.
Imagine a waste of time though, screaming at a bum like A-Rod anyway.
Hey, he's stinking up the joint anyway, right? I mean, he hasn't done much.
Our theory, we talked about this on the show. We thought somewhere some rat was going to surface like 10 years from now that was going to explain to you how A-Rod was still on the juice.
I'm giving him the stuff.
Well, it's always some slimy looking guy like that Brian McNamee guy, right?
Yeah.
Where he's stashing syringes in a cigarette package and holding on to them in the cabinet in his bathroom for 8 years just in case
There's
he
a
gets
little
jackpot.
DNA on there that he's got the DNA.
It's Roger, I swear. Right? He's running around the streets. It's Roger. He took it right in the ass.
Oh man, yeah.
But
no,
you got to figure one of these guys was going to surface somewhere.
Speaking about the Bronx Bombers, didn't they light somebody up for 20 runs one night this weekend?
Last night.
Last night,
Yeah,
20
yeah.
runs. Did A-Rod have any part of those 20?
You would think he
Or
had
was
a
he
couple of
was
hits.
he like Baffert's other horse, real quiet?
I don't know. And he's been in a dismal slump. He did have he mixed in one game-winning grand slam, and everybody applauded that. But it was pretty remarkable what he was doing early in the year.
You notice I'm up
Yeah.
on a little bit of sports this week.
What happened? You read the paper or
Yeah,
something?
no, the cable. I paid the cable bill. The cable's back on, so I got to watch
You watched
ESPN.
like a highlight show or
Yeah,
something.
I caught all the news that's ready to,
How about
to be
this?
seen. It was great.
Shankopotamus, one of my favorite horses, comes to mind.
Yes.
Runs on the New York circuit. But how does this guy get two aces, 2 holes in one in the same PGA round?
Yeah, that was a goodie too, right?
And guys are calling me today on the radio show and saying, yeah, I had a hole in one. Like on one of these par 3 courses where you hit like a wedge 60 yards.
Yeah, right
and
there.
It hit the phone lines that were up above the green, dropped straight down. Some bird kicked it and went in the hole. Hey, hole in one.
I
Give
had
me a
one.
certificate.
Actually, my first hole in one was.
You had a hole in one?
Yeah.
What do you mean your first
My
hole in
first
one?
one. It was right next to Steel Fudge at Gorilla Golf, right
Oh,
there
yes.
on the boardwalk. Yeah, it was like a.
When you used to ricochet it off the waterfall?
I had to bounce it off a house,
Yeah.
like a little fake house there, and then it would go into like a drain pipe pipe, and it would go around the drain pipe and boom, right into the
Does
hole.
anybody actually score their real score on miniature golf? There's no way.
I mean, I do. I play for money.
I would imagine, yeah.
I mean, when I'm
I
playing
would
it-
think that a serious amount of cheating was going on.
People don't realize, but if you
When
go
you're
to,
behind a log or something and there's no way out of this
if
thing,
you got $200 on a game of goofy golf, right? I
Yeah.
mean, if you're out there at the little miniature
all of
golf,
a sudden you're Arnie Palmer.
that game becomes very serious. And I've seen fights break out on the
Yeah,
board.
guys are hitting each other over the head with
the club,
miniature putter that was designed for some 5-year-old.
I mean, it gets more competitive than the damn U.S. Open when you got $150 on a
Two
game.
aces, though, in the same round?
I had two right there that day, right on the Atlantic
Here's a remarkable
City.
thing. That's not the first time it's happened in the PGA.
All right.
It's happened 2 other times. I don't know who the 2 guys were that did it, but
Tiger Woo.
I don't think so. But
No.
how do you have that happen 3 times where a guy's had 2 aces?
Tiger Woods.
Unbelievable.
Tiger Woo.
Japanese guy,
Matsuyama Masasaki.
right? that
Right.
guy.
Wasn't he pitching for the Red Sox? He got a lot of money for nothing, that guy.
Yeah, that
right?
guy. That was
and
a
the
good-
gyro ball. Matsuzaka is pitching today. I remember that day. I don't mean to cast any aspersions because you can get
No,
in
we
the
never do
jackpot
on
now.
this show. Again.
There was not. I mean, I have never seen. I went to that exhibition game when Daisuke Matsuzaka made his debut.
Yeah.
It was in Jupiter here, and it was a Red Sox either versus the Cardinals or the Marlins, who share that ballpark.
Yes.
And you would have thought it was a camera convention. I've never seen such fancy camera equipment in my life.
Yeah.
As the Japanese that were out there in force to get a shot of Matsuzaka.
How do you make out, though?
Lenses from here to the wall. He started out okay, and then he was never really.
Fizzled out?
I don't think he did that well, right?
I don't
his
remember.
career
I don't-
was
I don't know.
relatively modest by any standard.
Yeah.
A few years of decent ball, and then that was it.
There was a wrestler, Toro Tanaka, that I
The
used
professor, yes.
Yeah, Professor Toro
Was he a
Tanaka.
professor or a doctor? I think he was a
I
professor.
think he was a professor, yeah.
I'm not
he was
sure.
great.
He might have
back
been a
in the day.
doctor, Dr. Toro Tanaka.
He had some kind of death grip that I loved. It was some kind of fancy
Do you know where he came from originally?
parts unknown.
No. Similar.
I don't know.
He's the most famous athlete to
Yes.
ever come from the Isle of Malta,
Isle of Malta, yes.
which may also be the home of the Iron Sheik. I'm not sure, even
Two
though
wrestlers.
it's hard to make that association. No, Dr. or Professor Toro Tanaka
Yes.
hailed from the Isle of Malta, I believe, which is its finest distinction. So all good stuff. But
I mean, no, wrestling always one of. I mean, it is a sport, right? I mean, it's considered as.
I can't imagine that anybody really buys into it as a sport.
But this is a sports show, and it really we don't talk about sports that much.
Well, now that you're informed, I mean, you're
Well, now
probably
that-
going to break down the
Hey,
pennant
listen,
races
by the
for
end of
us,
the month, I got cable this month. Now, I don't know. If things don't go well, I had a little bit of a score last week. We did
Yes.
hit the pick six at Gulfstream, me and my friend Evan. I had nothing to do with the selections. I left that up to him. I just bankrolled half the ticket. So
Does he now wish that he didn't know you and that he
no,
would
he
just
actually
bankroll it
feels
himself?
for some
that
reason
you're the
there's-
element of luck.
Yes, there's some strange feeling
It's
that
not the first time you guys have done that.
We've had two pick sixes and a nice pick 4 that paid $4,000.
Oh,
So-
beautiful. So,
So
that's the way
he's-
to do it.
He thinks that I am lucky in some manner.
I think you are. I think there's a certain serendipity to you that,
Well, listen, the pink.
Not sure what it is,
The
but,
purple suit is in.
yeah,
The fudge came in. We hit a pick 6. I mean, it's been a good weekend.
good
I
weekend
keep
all the way
looking around like so that a body doesn't drop on me or,
Come flying out of the stands.
Out of the
well, I
sky.
think there's a couple of bodies in Joey's trunk.
What happened to the rest
think-
of the crew? I mean, they're missing today.
I think
Is
that's
it
why Todd does all the driving here.
something that God rest his something happened to Todd or
Todd's over at the bank.
oh he's at the bank.
Uh-oh.
Hey, this could be good.
Finally getting paid here to do the
It's
show.
nice.
It's excellent.
Large stacks,
Large
small
stacks,
bills. I
stack
always
of
say.
cash. I like it.
I like large stacks, small bills.
Garbage bags.
Investors are
Garbage
coming in
bag's full.
by the day.
What'd your pension come in? I mean, what's going on here?
We just,
All right, they're working on a few things.
Nice.
They got a few things that we got to work on.
I'm sorry I'm late. Don't dock me now that it's payday.
Half a day's pay is still
I
better
ran
than
into
none.
I don't want half pay. I want the whole full deal. I want the full.
you doctor, you were 18 minutes late.
There you go.
Salmon Beach.
So I go to exhibition
As your
football.
friend Francisco would say, Salmon Beach.
Who are these people? They are pigs.
Yeah, you and I bet Luca Panici. Does he have my money?
Nietzsche coming through like he was Lafitte Pink Eye over the weekend on a couple of unfortunately short-priced horses at Gulfstream Park, but riding like a champ. So I check out this new stadium. Guy spent $400 million.
Oh yeah, you went there Saturday night. Good for you. How was the booze?
And we should have hooked up with Dan the Man
Free
there from Deal
drinks
Volkswagen.
in the suite?
No, I was in the press box like a douche, just with a
Oh, you should have went
bunch
down
of guys
to
that are analyzing, that punt didn't have much trajectory on it.
the Deal
Like I care.
Volkswagen suite is supposed to be, which you have full access to.
I got to find out where it is.
Yeah, no, it's
'Cause we
located.
were trying to find a box to crash, and you're hoping to find like some prawns in, some kind of fancy sauce or something. But no, I was in the press box where they charge you $5 for a cold hot dog.
Ugh.
But it's not like you have to eat at a ball game.
No, you don't.
But I was curious to see this because the people outside of town, the owner of the Dolphins spent, or is in the process of spending, $400 million across 2 years to revamp the stadium, all in reaction to this ridiculous notion on the part of Roger Goodell
that they needed to fix the joint up for a Super Bowl.
that the stadium wasn't up to par for a Super Bowl.
What a dump.
Now the Louisiana Superdome, which has housed Super Bowls more recently, a couple of them.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a place where the roof caved in 10 years ago with Katrina.
Yeah, but there's no chance of rain on a Super Bowl in that stadium because it's a super dome.
Yeah, but not every stadium that they have the game at. They
No.
had it in New York where there was a snowstorm.
They had it in, actually, that was New Jersey.
New
where they
Jersey,
had it.
yeah,
Yeah, the other
disgusting.
side of the river.
And the guy got a reprieve, like a call from the governor on the
They
old...
got 50 degrees in the middle of February or
just
something.
as
that
Whitey
day,
was
yeah.
about to pull the switch and whack the guy right in the gas chamber in California after he was innocent of this crime and did 20 years on death row, the call comes from the governor. And that's kind of the reprieve that Goodell got, because that
Right.
game in New Jersey was about to become an extreme embarrassment, which it was for every other portion of that 48, 72-hour period of time, except the 3 hours they played the game.
Right.
That was the only time it was decent outside. As soon as they left, winds picked up, snow hitting you in the face like hail, like golf
You were
ball
there
sized
for
hail.
a few days before, and it was pretty
Atrocious, yeah.
wicked, yeah.
You couldn't have a good time. It was so freaking cold.
And it was like a blizzard, too, right? There was snow all over the place.
Snow everywhere, ice. You couldn't walk on the sidewalks. You walked outside, your face froze. You were thinking, hey, what are the activities?
Yeah, nice. And then all of a sudden, the day
People
of the
are
game,
eating each other's flesh like they were crashed a plane into the Andes Mountains. Just like, hey, never mind that, Kanish breath. How about a piece of your arm?
the movie Alive, you felt
Yes.
like you were one of those guys, right?
You're up there going, I hate to do this, but let's carve them up.
Yeah, let's cut them up and cook them up. But yeah,
What are you going to do? You got to survive, right? You can't make it to the next phase of life if you don't survive this one.
No.
That's right. You can't make it to the pick six if you don't hit the fifth race in the sequence. So no luck though, huh? This weekend on that.
No, and I blew that this weekend. Nothing. I went Saturday. I didn't go yesterday. I took the day off. I had to, do a couple other
It'd
things.
be a serious bludgeoning then on Saturday.
No, I did. It wasn't.
all right.
I
Wasn't too
did actually. I didn't get clobbered. I lost, like 300-400, which
All right. A
I
reasonable
was.
day.
I was ready to come back in.
Willing to accept, yeah.
Yeah, I was
After
coming.
hitting for
I just,
several
the
dimes.
weather was crummy. I don't like going to sit inside. I like Gulfstream Park because I like the tiki bar outside. You got a lot of good people out there. The beers are flying. Everybody's in a kind
And you
of a
mosey on to the breezeway to meet
festive
our good
mood.
guys from Deal Volkswagen.
Yeah, the
Volvo.
boys
Yeah.
from Deal are always in there pounding away. With the other degenerates that hang out in there that give them the bad information. But I called it a day yesterday. I stayed home and relaxed. Didn't get much swimming and no beach time. That Erica.
It scared everybody off.
Erica just
It
kind
turned out
of
to be much ado about nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
Storm's supposed to hit South Florida.
I mean, when I used to have hair, there was more wind out of my blow dryer. Back in
It's
the
a bad day only for the guys with the lousy hairpiece.
Yeah, right.
Among our favorites, here in South Florida, you see a hairpiece blown by. I thought Sammy Sosa's head was going to wind up in my pool. the
Oh
way
yeah,
were
yeah. They
describing
got that. They got
Dominican
the worst
Republic,
of it.
you figure Sosa gets caught up in this thing, boom.
They got the worst of it there.
Yeah, and it was bad in the places that it actually affected, but nothing here. And they talked people out of going outside, which was tremendous. Yeah, you mentioned that lady that you saw at the deli counter, and she was also buying a jackhammer.
At home, no, that was the lady at Home Depot that literally hip checked me into the aisle. I mean, she knocked me over trying to grab the last sledgehammer. And I, what is she going to do with this? Maybe
She just wanted to kill her husband, I think. You
I don't know
assumed
what
that was hurricane related.
I thought it was hurricane related. I mean, she had a wheelbarrow. Like, what is she doing with a wheelbarrow? A couple potted flowers and 2 gallons of water. Which,
Well, and plus then the people on Friday were lined up at the gas stations 100 deep.
yeah, trying to fill up in case the gas pumps went out over the.
It was like, what was the year of the gas shortage? The supposed when the Saudi Arabian sheik invested all his money in horse racing and claimed that he needed some more money because he had financed the purchase of Green Monkey or something. Was that in the 70s?
I don't remember when they had the even odd thing.
Right, you could only go every other day, and then you could only get like $10 worth, and
then you had
you
a
were
friend
online for days. You would run out of gas on the line.
I had a friend that had a gas
yes.
station. He would open up at like midnight, and he'd say, "Meet me down there at midnight, and I'll fill your car and some of your friends' cars up."
My rich Uncle Harry wanted to buy a gas station.
Oh yeah,
at that time.
I mean, that was the deal. It was good. It was tough to get gas, Especially, how about these businessmen that got 3 or 4 fleet trucks every day? Well, I don't think about that back then. I was just worried about.
It was like that Friday though here in South Florida. People were lined up at the pumps in a panic.
You got the nut.
People were in
here.
fist fights in line at a Shell station.
I believe it.
Crazy.
The Shell station up here on Federal, $2.16 or 13. I mean, it's unbelievable. You go a little further, it was $2.49, $2.50.
That's why they were lined up.
That's why they were killing everybody over there. $2.13. The guy's insane.
So you think about it, you're saving about $3 on a tank of gas.
He's like Crazy Eddie of gas, this guy. I mean,
why is it that people relate to gas prices? So I know we all do a lot of driving, but to tell you the truth, you're going to pay the price anyway. When it was $4 a gallon, you weren't in any worse shape.
No,
right?
I'm one of those guys. I go, hell with that. I'm not waiting in that line. It's good. You figure if you got a 15-gallon gas tank, and it's 20 cents difference, whatever. I mean, you're talking $3.
Okay, so you're talking $3.
$3. Forget about
you
it.
Spend more than that. You tipped a lady more than that when you buy a racing form.
Oh my God!
Right, back when it was like $7, you just give her the 10, let her keep it. Now that it's $9.50, you tell her to go blank herself.
And if you gamble and you go to the track, and you're one of these guys, that you make these ridiculous bets, these tickets, you don't really care too much about the $3.
No.
That it's going to cost you so that you can hurry up and make the late double. You're not going to wait in line.
You just want to go to some gas station.
You got to go, man. You got to get down. You got to get your bet in. He
has a long look on his face, like he got shut out at the bank.
And I don't see the bags of cash.
I don't see even a receipt.
You were depositing them. Oh, okay.
Added funds coming into the Sports Stream Network. That is absolutely great. All right, what do you make of this RG3 thing? This business, it looked like they're out there to just sabotage the guy.
Well, that was what
Seems
you
to be
said
some
last
collusion.
week.
Yeah.
What's going
Gruden
on?
tried to get him killed. I mean, there's no question about it. And we find out the reason why now is that there's a stipulation
in the contract?
in his contract that he gets $16.1 million next year.
If he starts.
But somehow, I don't think he gets that if he's injured this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
so they're literally trying to get the guy killed out there.
Well, first they put him behind. They didn't even have their offensive line out there. They were letting guys, were on the practice squad.
Do you believe that that's really the case? Don't they want to win games? I mean, this guy Snyder, I don't think
Snyder's the only guy that wants to keep him around, though. Supposedly the coaching staff hates him like poison.
I mean, when he's on the top of his game and he's a good player,
he wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But this is one of the. I mean, there have been a few of these debates over the years as to who should be 1 or 2. When there were like 2 supposed top quarterbacks coming out, you had Drew Bledsoe and Rick Myra. Remember, there was a big debate who should take Bledsoe or Myra.
Right.
So they took Bledsoe number 1. I believe that was your man Natuna when he was with the Patriots, right?
Right.
Took Bledsoe number 1, or did Bledsoe start out with the Cowboys? Did he go Cowboys?
No, he ended up in the Cowboys.
Ended up in the Cowboys. Okay, so he was drafted by the Patriots. They took him number 1. I think Natuna was the coach of the Patriots at the time.
It could have been. I mean, the whole thing with Bledsoe was when Brady came in, and then they shipped him off.
Right. But he had already sort of been, he was on the tail end of his career at that point, and the fact that he got hurt, gave him the opportunity to give Brady a shot. It was sort of surprising they didn't put him back in the lineup, but he did come back later that year. A few people remember this, and actually helped the Patriots win, I think, the AFC title game, where Brady got hurt and was out of the game for a while, and Bledsoe, they had him on the bench. To his credit, instead of pouting and sulking, he came in there and did a hell of a job, and then gave way to Brady in the Super Bowl, which they eventually went on. That was their first Super Bowl win. But
right.
Rick Myra was a bust, right? I mean, he did nothing as a pro.
Where did he play as most of his? In Seattle or something?
Rick Myra, was he? I don't even know. And then later on, you had, Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. And the media, me being a part of this, psychotic desire to fuel the fans with bad information, most of us were saying, oh, yeah, Ryan Leaf, having never seen him play. I wasn't on this bandwagon, but I started to become convinced, because you're thinking, if so many people are saying it, can it possibly be wrong? That Ryan Leaf was a better quarterback than Peyton Manning. I think Leaf ended up, he's playing for a state penitentiary team, I think.
Is he the one that was end up breaking into houses?
Yeah,
and got hooked on
he lost his
Oxycontins?
mind. I think
Yeah,
he's.
no. I
I think he's in a slammer as
That
we
was
speak. While
him,
Peyton
right?
Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and maybe, in the conversation, and he is
That
maybe
was
one of the
Ryan
best of all
Leaf,
time.
right?
So yeah, that turned out to be very beneficial for the team that picked Manning over Leaf, which was the Indianapolis Colts.
Right.
And now you got this thing though where you had Andrew Luck and RG3, and there were people. People that are supposedly knowledgeable saying, no, you should take RG3 number 1 over Andrew Luck, who looked like the prototype cinch to make it a quarterback. And, he's distinguished himself. Obviously, everybody thinks he's going to have an MVP season this year. And Robert Griffin III, he was great in college. He was a terrific college quarterback. When he was lighting up for Baylor there, he was as much fun to watch as anybody.
Right.
And then he's just – and he got off to a great start as a rookie. Surprised a lot of people. And then started getting hurt, and that's been his undoing. But they're clearly out to sabotage this guy's season, no? They don't want him. They told him, listen, you have a concussion. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And they go, no, you're not fine. Then they had their own team doctor come out, like, what was that movie with Pacino, Any Given Sunday?
Yeah.
Remember the James Woods character?
I do.
And he was telling LT, oh, yeah, you're fine.
You're fine. And
Go out there and play. He said, this guy is going to be speaking in Hebrew by tomorrow.
Yeah, no, he was out of it. But he needed, and there's another player. He needed to make one more tackle or something to get $1 million bonus.
Yeah, this happens quite frequently, yeah. I'm not sure what the stipulations are in the contract, but, it looks like there's a clear-cut agenda to get this guy off the team. And Snyder, your maniacal owner, is the one guy that is opposed to it, supposedly.
Daniel Snyder, I think the guy legitimately really wants to win, right? So
he gave $800 million to Albert Hainsworth, who, then turned out I think he was eating Steele's fudge the entire offseason.
Yeah, he ate his way out of football, Hainsworth. He definitely did.
He looked like Roberto Duran between fights. Hey, Roberto.
It was
looks like you put on a few, right?
Who's our favorite guy that, after he beat Mike Tyson?
Buster Douglas.
They asked him what his plans were, after he had won the heavyweight title. He said to get seriously fat.
He did. He went up to like 400 pounds.
Gained like 200 pounds.
He was in a diabetic coma or something. He finally snapped out of it. I think, did Buster Douglas check out? I think he did.
No.
Because if he didn't, he certainly would have gotten a match with one of the Klitschko's by now, no?
Hey, well, your other buddy's coming back. He's got to be in his 40s now.
Sugar Shane Mosley?
No, who's
he
this?
He fought the other night.
The heavyweight, the Biggs.
Did Mosley fight?
Shannon Biggs, yeah.
How'd he do?
He knocked out the human sacrificial lamb, Ricardo Mayorga.
He did?
In 6 rounds, yeah.
Wow.
Mayorga was giving him a little gesture, some genitalia.
I was a Mosley fan in his day.
Mosley was great in his day out of Pomona, California, but, it's almost a disgrace that he's still fighting today, no?
I don't know. If he won, he won. Good for him. They found some tomato can.
They always do. Mayorga was that guy that everybody came back against.
Yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya was off for 2 years. Who'd they find? They went to Nicaragua. They found him in some bar somewhere, dragged him out of there. He was like downing shots of Padron.
Right.
Smoking cigarettes, saying, I'd kill your mother and eat your children.
Yeah, I'd kick your ass.
He's a guy that's always, starting some kind of schmenkdom at the press conferences.
De La Hoya, somebody.
Then they brought him back, the same guy against Felix Trinidad when he came back years later. Mayorga. Literally dug him out of a graveyard somewhere, and there he was in the ring at Madison Square Garden.
And they just brought him back again now? This is like the year 2000.
He's great at this, though. He kind of looks good for a couple of rounds, and you're thinking, this is going to be something, and then, all of his evil ways eventually catch up with him.
Well, Jim, Mayorga's looking good in the early rounds. Mayorga's got a shot here to pull off the upset, Jim. I got it 1 round even, 1-1. Mayorga right in this fight, Jim.
Nobody could have done that fight with any kind of credibility, right?
I don't know. Did you? What about the big fight that you were touting?
I told you it was great, man. Well, we should look it up on YouTube here. I'm gonna put it up for you here right after the show. But
yeah,
2 guys really going after
round
it the entire
12.
time.
I heard you blasting this morning on the radio.
It was great because the fight's not necessarily decided, but you would have had reason.
It was that close.
I didn't really think it was that close. Santa Cruz started winning every round from a technical standpoint. He was just landing better shots, and Morris did what he could.
Right.
To initiate action and put pressure on a guy. He was at a serious disadvantage, height and reach-wise.
Yes.
So his whole mission was to get inside, and he did everything that he could. He bull rushed the guy, he held him, he put his head on there, but they were throwing a lot of punches, and almost all of them were bombs. So
Well, that's what you like to see. I mean, you like to see these guys firing away when it's down to, especially in the final round, if you still have a shot to win it,
Yeah, and you knew that Morris was going to bring it, and this was a big thing. The crowd on its feet before the 12th round got underway.
Right.
Literally on its feet in tribute to the great show these guys were putting on. And this was in a fight with no knockdowns, no serious blood
Right.
flowing. I guess there was a clash of heads early that caused a couple of small cuts that were controlled throughout. So it wasn't like it was your typical bloodbath. This wasn't Hagler-Hearns.
It wasn't like Ward and
Gotti, sort of. You know what? It was. If you really look back, I know a big deal is made of that trilogy, which it was a lot of fun.
First fight, round 7.
Yeah, it was kind of not
Was
quite like
wasn't
that.
that
Yeah,
the one that was the ebb and flow?
right.
like-
Where one guy was staggered. No, it wasn't quite like that. It was competitive all the way through. Very high pace. I mean, to fight 12 rounds at this pace, you got to be just in amazing shape.
Well, I got to see it. I mean, I'm interested now. And then
I would be surprised if it wasn't replayed a few times on ESPN. They hit a home run.
I know
with
some
this.
of the people that are watching us every day. I mean, they're probably, if they could find this thing on the computer, then they could find you. How do they see that? Where is it? How do you
I would
get
think
it?
YouTube would have.
Oh, YouTube?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be able to get, maybe a round by round.
Or just
viewing,
maybe put in round 12. Maybe it's up there.
Round 12 was great because it was typical of all 12 rounds. Kind of fight that you would want to see over and over
Who was
again.
the Santa Cruz? What was it?
Leo Santa Cruz, who
Santa
won the
Cruz.
fight pretty easily on the scorecards. One guy had it a draw.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, that was a bit of a stretch, but it wasn't like it was so lopsided that you couldn't make a case.
And who's the guy he fought? Mars?
Abner Maris, who
Maris.
was a three-time champion.
Mares, right?
Mares, not like Roger Maris, but
Right. Mars.
and great stuff. I mean, the fans in LA really appreciate the game. I was talking about it earlier before you came in, and you love seeing this where the crowd's on its feet before
Yeah.
the round even starts, and then they give it to them.
And the nice part, it was free, right? ESPN showed it.
ESPN, the Pro Champion something.
I mean, we
It's
paid
called
$149.
Pro Boxing Champions.
We paid,
Oh yeah,
we paid
Evan
100
did. Thank God he hit that pick six.
Yeah, we paid $149.
There it is.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
Your friend that loves the show, what's his name? Something G.
Oh, Sheldon G.
Yeah. He'll be happy that now. Can you put that up on? No.
The fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Lawsuits.
Sheldon would love that. you
Todd
know.
just went to the
All
bank.
he's got to do is go to
It'll be,
YouTube. They'll type it in. It's already
YouTube,
there.
type in
It's already there,
Santa
yeah.
Cruz Morris. Teddy Atlas has lost his mind, though. I don't know if you've seen his
No,
commentary
he's-
lately. He's out of it.
yeah.
He's obviously too much ammonia in the corners all those years when he was working with Customato because he couldn't get the guy's last name right. He kept calling him Cruz,
Yeah.
which, there's only two guys in the ring. That happened to me one time. I was working on a fight with the fight doctor, Freddie Pacheco, who was on the tail end of a brilliant career, obviously, if he was working with me instead of Marv Albert.
He was definitely on a downhill.
And he had the two fighters juxtaposed. He kept
Yes.
calling Jones Smith and Smith Jones.
Did you try to correct them?
You don't want to say, "Hey, Ferdy, you dumbass." How do you not know who's who? The one guy's wearing like green trunks and the other guy's in purple. And they don't look anything alike, but it's easy. And then once you get in the habit of calling the wrong name,
You continue
it's
to do
tough.
so.
It's tough to stop yourself, right? It'll be like a race caller. You don't see that often, surprisingly, right?
So,
Where-
Bill, what did you do over the weekend?
I was looking for some wigs so I could compete with you, and then you come in here looking like yourself.
No, I mean, I'm still trying to patch that deal up with Cy.
That won't be easy after
The wig guy.
Friday's embarrassment.
Well, the suit deal with Tony is good. The suit is now in for tailoring, and I will be wearing that suit again. I know that you probably like that suit, might even want to borrow it. It was a little big, so I'm having that cut tailored. Drop that off over there at Tony's.
You didn't wear that to the Visser Mama wedding?
I would have worn it if I had it at the time.
Can you imagine how fast you would have got thrown out of the...
I don't know that I would have. I think Visser would have appreciated that. The Visser
Actually,
woman.
you would have probably fit in with some of her other weird friends.
Some of the other people that were there, and
How did we get into that, by the way? That's an amazing accomplishment, yeah.
I actually got an invitation to join them at some table that I'm sure they spent way too much money for.
No, it's a charitable thing.
Well,
Bubbles
it is.
and bones,
It
yes.
is, but I mean, it's a big money. I was looking at the money on
10
those
dimes, I think, a table.
for a table.
That's a dime a piece.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
pretty
so
strong.
and I got
I'm sure he's all of a sudden he got his hopes up. Yeah,
Well,
maybe we could televise that.
Well, maybe the Sports Stream Network could buy
I
a
was just
table.
doing the math.
You would think the Sports Stream Network would...
10 at a table, 10 people
Get
at the
involved.
table, $1,000 a plate. Yeah, it's good. And they have a silent auction.
trying to think of the name of this place now, and it escapes me. But I think we are going to be doing some location shows from the Silver Club or whatever it is.
Well, I've got
down in
several
Miami,
locations that are lined up and ready to join forces here, as long as we can do one live remote there a week.
I think we're going to be in good shape for that. We just have to work out a deal with Jory so that we make all the money, and then everything will be fine.
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't it be that way?
What expenses could he possibly incur in putting this show on every day? You would think we give him gas money and what? Money for a Laspada sandwich?
We don't even have to give them the money. Just bring the sandwich. I mean, they don't require much, right?
Unbelievable.
Come on.
All right, we got to get out of here. You got things to do.
No, I got
so
more
do
stuff. I got stuff.
What do you got?
We got to go? Is it time to go?
Yeah,
We're
we're done. Save it for tomorrow. Save it for tomorrow show.
Yeah, no, but this was good stuff.
What do you have?
If we got to go, we got to go. No,
Give me a little piece here. We'll hang out like you were Howard Stern or something.
No.
Yeah, we'll be off when we're ready to get off.
Well, we should be able to close when we want to close, but I'm just saying, no.
That's the beauty of it.
It was nothing that was going to make me any money or anything like that. I mean, don't think that I'm staying on here a little bit extra, so I could make a few bucks. But
why would you want to do that? I mean,
no, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case.
All right, save it for tomorrow. It'll come to you. Alzheimer's is a very difficult thing for a lot of
tough thing to
families
deal with.
out there are suffering and having to deal with this as we speak.
And the fact that I'm just brain dead and it has nothing to do with Alzheimer's, it just has to do with years of abuse.
Yes. Yeah, you've been good though lately.
Lately, I've been good, but
the
the brain cells, I think, were already smoked. I mean, it was done.
Witness your partner here on the show. All right, that'll do it for us. SportsStreamNetwork.com. Jersey Kyle Martinez, outstanding job. Congratulations on all your wagering success.
Yeah, that was good. That came
in
handy. I was able to get the cable turned back on, and that's why I'm up on what's going on in sports.
Hot water, you're showered today? It's
hot
fantastic.
Water, yeah, smelled good and everything. And again, special thanks to the boys at Steel Fudge, because we gave them a rough time. We've been kind of sending, drilling them.
We were doubting their sincerity. And
this is a nice package. I mean, this
is
is beautiful. You would not believe this thing. I mean, they were jumping for joy over there at the Boca address. People were saying, "Oh my God!"
How do you like the hair today? My alarm didn't go off.
Yeah, nice.
Ugly, huh?
Did they run your opening of the show?
No. We were still operating under a very what would it be? Austere budget.
Yeah, well, Sheldon G has made mention of that
Sheldon
several times.
We salute you for us, supporting us here.
For watching, even though with the technician, guy that we have working here. I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's walking out.
I don't like the fact that Jory put his hands over his eyes and had his face down on the table when Todd came back from the bank.
Yeah,
that's never a good sign.
With that thing, And
he's got a pamphlet. You too can open an account with no money down. All right, so we'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock right here. Razor sharp, 11 o'clock on SportsStreamNetwork.com.
11 tomorrow, right on time.
We'll be here.